Simon, Soccer Aid. Were you ever involved in Soccer Aid in the past, Simon?
I was not.
No, I would have thought you, mind you, when you were at Palace, you were a busy man.
I was.
Soccer Aid 2023 takes place this Sunday at Old Trafford. Some stellar names taking part. It's an England versus a World 11. And that, the World 11, I'm just looking at some of the names in it. Batistuta, incredible. Francesco Totti, Roberto Carlos, Patrice Evra. But I can tell you the England team is pretty star-studded as well, with the likes of Paul Scholes, Jack Wilshere and Gary Cahill. Gary Cahill joins us live in the show this morning, former Chelsea defender. Gary, good morning.
How are you? You okay?
Good, mate, good. The last time I spoke to you, you were crouched down, if you remember, in front of the dugout at Stamford Bridge, having played your last game. Does it seem that long ago now, Gary?
It seems a while ago now, to be honest. Yeah, obviously retired at the end of last season, so yeah, it seems a distant memory, but obviously great memories at Stamford Bridge for me.
Absolutely. I mean, 7.5 years there, you know, a terrific career. You won everything in your time at Chelsea. We'll get to that shortly. But tell us about Soccer Aid and why you specifically wanted to lend your services to this.
Well, first of all, obviously I was asked to do it, and I think it was a privilege to be asked. So yeah, I jumped at the opportunity. I think it's going to be an amazing occasion, a fantastic charity, great work that they do. Hopefully we have a full house at Old Trafford, which will be great. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Like I said, the first one. We had the first training session yesterday, got to know all the lads. It's a great group, and you know, everyone's here to lend their time for basically what is a fantastic charity.
It's a fantastic charity, but it'll be serious stuff in the pitch because you guys take it seriously, especially, Gary, when you're coming up against the likes of Francesco Totti, against Hernan Crespo, against Batistuta, who I met at the World Cup in Qatar. I mean, these are serious dudes, right?
They are serious players, mate. Yeah, definitely. But the competitive spirit's there in training yesterday, and that's not just the players. You know, that's the celebrities as well. So it's going to be tasty. There's always a certain moment in these games, isn't there? I mean, from watching in the past, a famous Boris moment, and I'm sure there'll be something that happens in the game. But you know, as England, I think we're underdogs. So I've heard we've obviously lost the last 4, so we're looking to try and get a win.
England underdogs, you're not used to being that. Have you looked at any of the celebs who may or may not do some damage on the day? What do they look like as players?
I'm slightly worried Usain Bolt might do some damage to my hamstrings, to be honest, mate. So I think when I look around the pitch, there's a few ageing players, but I seem to come up against the fastest man on the planet. So I'm not sure how deep we're going to play, but yeah, maybe he'll cause a few problems for me.
Oh, brilliant. Some of the celebs in your group as well. Who's the standout? Mo Farah. I'd have thought he's extremely enthusiastic. I don't know what he's like as a player. Simon was telling us you can write off Danny Dyer because he's never been a player.
Yeah, I spoke to Mo yesterday, and he's a massive football fan. He loves the game. So stamina's not going to be an issue for him. But we trained yesterday, like I said, and everyone looked sharp. Everyone looked energetic and enthusiastic. So, yeah, he's definitely looking forward to the game.
Gary, you've won the Champions League. You know what the feeling is like to have done that. Are you hoping that Manchester City can put that to rest tomorrow night and say, we've done it? That's the one in the bank that we wanted.
I think that's obviously what they'll be searching for, and I think it'd be fitting, to be honest, for the season that they've had. I think the football that they're playing, especially of late, the last couple of months, the business end of the season where they seem to produce time and time again, it'd be fitting to get the treble, wouldn't it? And yeah, as an English team, obviously, I hope they do it.
Yeah, I mean, getting the treble in times like these, when the Premier League is so competitive, Gary, you know, to win anything these days, as West Ham showed the other night, you've got to go not just the extra yard, the extra mile. I mean, if they win the 3 City, what does it tell us?
The team that everyone thinks they are, and the team that we've seen the last few months, or the last few years, should we say, they are a special outfit. You know, they've got so much experience in that squad. They've got big players who've won trophies before. In terms of ingredients in the squad, they've got everything it takes. So, but it is obviously the one that's eluded them, the one that they really want. However, they might play that down in the press. They definitely really want this. If he was in that squad, it's the one that's missing.
Are they the best team you've ever seen, Gary? This current one?
I think they're up there. I think obviously everyone enjoyed the Barcelona team of a few years ago, didn't they? They was a very, very special side. I think they're definitely up there in European football. The way that they can adapt, the way that they can change formation, the personnel they have. You know, they've got so many options, depending on how the game goes, to bring players off the bench and to change the formation. Intelligent footballers that can adapt, and a manager that obviously can chop and change depending on who they're playing and what's happening in the game. So, like I said in the top of the programme, they've got everything in terms of the ingredients that you want from a winning side.
Gary, just out of curiosity, when you look back, when you're looking at Chelsea now, obviously a lot's been written about Chelsea and the change of ownership and the amount of money that's been spent. And they've had situations before in the past where they've dropped down to 10th in the league and then bounced back the following season and won the Premier League. What do you think Chelsea are going to look like next year with Pochettino in charge?
I think they've got a good manager in place. I think they're going to, obviously, I can't see them having the season anywhere near what they've had this time around. I think it's been a bit of a bizarre season for Chelsea. There's been so much change. The new owners have come in. Obviously, they have a plan. It doesn't happen overnight. I don't think anyone foreseen the season that they have been as bad as it has. But I see it being much, much better. I think you just touched on it then. I was in the squad when we won the league, and we finished 10th the next year and won the league the year after. So if you pick the bones out of that, it doesn't really make much sense, does it? So I can see them rebounding. Obviously, I'm not sure to what capacity. I think the top four for them next year is going to be their aim first and foremost, and then go from there. But I think the squad is massive. There's a lot of talk of it getting trimmed down, so it'd be interesting to see what decisions the new manager makes.
Gary, when you're in a dressing room as a player with the background noise of lots of players being brought in and a squad size, on one hand you hear managers saying they need more players, they need better players. On the other hand you say you've now got too many players. How does that, when you're in a dressing room, manifest itself inside a team being built when you've got arguably too many good players?
Because I think it's a balance between the two, and I think it's very difficult. I've always said before in the past, managers have got the tactics and the formations, etc., but also the man management is a vital part of it. And I think when you have a massive squad of players who, let's be honest, all feel that they're good enough to play and start, and you're having to leave big players not only on the bench but in the stand, after time it can breed a bit of kind of negativity, I feel, and that's just from my experience. You might get a few moan and groans from the people who are left out week in, week out. So I think it's difficult to manage a huge squad. Obviously from the outside you look and you see the players that they have, and people will say, oh well, they've got all these players to choose from, but keeping that group happy is part and parcel of a good team spirit. Takes you a long way. So that's why I think they will trim it down. There's too many players there at the moment, and I'm sure the manager will look at his squad and decide
and lean it down a bit.
Profile,
lean it down a bit.
Yeah.
Gary,
not just ability-wise, but personality-wise as well.
Knowing Chelsea, as you know Chelsea, and albeit it's a different ownership model, but these guys have come in and spent a lot of dough, so they're going to want to achieve the same things that Roman Abramovich achieved. Were you surprised that they took Potter? And I'm not asking you to get into territory of being controversial, but were you surprised that they took Potter? And were you surprised at the outcome of Potter?
Slightly surprised at the outcome. I think to say they obviously, like I said before, they come in with a plan, and that was the plan. And you can't. What Graeme Potter did at Brighton was fantastic. The football that they was playing there was incredible. To say the budget and the size of the club, etc. So I feel in some stages it was difficult. He come into it at such a bad time. So much change. Spoke about it before. Not just the squad, medical staff, everything in the club. Really jumbled up with players added to it. I feel like he was kind of thrown in the mix at a bad time. So I was surprised the way that it did go. I still think he's a great manager, but it's so difficult to keep it at the level that you kind of expect straight away when you make so many changes. But ultimately, Chelsea are a successful outfit and a successful club, so I see them getting back to that.
So your opponents this weekend, Gary, the World 11, the manager of them, Mauricio Pochettino, is he a good fit for Chelsea?
I think so. I was speaking to the lads like back in the day at England when they obviously had him at Tottenham, and they spoke very highly of him. So I think he is a good fit, yeah.
Gary, it's great to speak to you. We shall watch how you guys do. No doubt you'll breeze through it as you always did, mate. Always looked effortless with you, but you certainly didn't shirk anything when it came to the physicality side of it as well. So the appetite is still there, Mr. Cahill, is it?
No, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the session now. It's nice to get back out there and play a bit of football. So I'm definitely looking forward to gracing Old Trafford again. It'll be, like I said before, a fantastic occasion all round.
Gary, thanks for joining us live on talkSPORT this morning. And the game is live on talkSPORT on Sunday.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.